Hi, I'm Jenny. I'm one of the dietitians at County Durham and Darlington NHS Foundation Trust, and I'm here today to bake a chocolate cake that's free from eggs, dairy and soya.
Hello, I'm Jess. I'm also one of the dietitians, and I'm here to find out a little bit more about what we're baking today.
We're going to do a cake that's really easy, Jess, and it's quite a big recipe, so I've halved the recipe. And we've got dry ingredients and then wet ingredients. It's really different to normal because you don't have any eggs and you don't have any butter. So you start off with flour.
And everything's already measured out here.
Yeah, everything's measured. So we've got 150 grams of plain flour and 200 grams of sugar. It can be any sugar, but what I found is that a dark brown sugar seems to work better with the cocoa. And then we've got cocoa. We've got 50 grams of cocoa, and it's important it's not drinking chocolate because we need to keep it milk-free. So it has to be cocoa.
So a rich cocoa powder.
We've got chocolate chips. One of the things that people don't realise when they've got dairy allergy is that you can eat plain chocolate as long as it's a very plain chocolate. So it's at least a 90% cocoa, and that it doesn't have any dairy in the label. So these are plain chocolate chips.
So again, dark chocolate chips you mentioned.
So once we've got the dry ingredients in, then we need to put in something to act as a raising agent because we've got plain flour. So we use bicarbonate of soda, and there's a teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda. And for the bicarbonate to work, you have to put vinegar in, otherwise it won't raise.
And does it matter what type of vinegar that you use?
Not at all. This is wine vinegar, but it can be cider vinegar, it can be malt vinegar. It doesn't make any difference as long as the recipe's got vinegar and bicarb. What can be really strange, it might not do it when it's mixed, but sometimes it fizzes, and that's the raising agent starting to work. So that it's not a problem with the recipe if it's fizzing once it's all mixed up. Then we've got vanilla, and that's a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then oil. It's oil rather than butter because it's dairy free. So there's 50 mils of oil. And then there's milk. Now, you can make the recipe with water, but then there wouldn't be any calcium in. So because a lot of people who are milk-free struggle for calcium, you can use almond milk, or you can use hazelnut milk, or you can use oat milk, and then you're giving people calcium.
Check that it's fortified as well.
Yeah. Mix this up. So when it's mixed together, it doesn't look like a traditional cake mix at all.
Is it a little bit runnier?
It's really runny. It's made of batter. And you don't have to use a mixer, you can just use a wooden spoon. It'll all mix up really easily. We're going to make it into cupcakes, but you can make it into a normal cake.
And it's important to remember that it will raise as well.
Yeah.
So just to leave some space for that in the cases.
The thing about it that's a little bit strange because of the bicarbonate is it's not so good to eat on the day. So what happens is that it's better if you make it one day and eat it the next day. So there's the cupcakes. And then when they're made, they go in the oven and they take about 30 minutes. And sometimes if they rise up too much, they go in at 180 degrees, you can turn the oven down to 160 degrees because they can get too breaky on the top, so it settles them sometimes if you turn the oven temperature down.
And how long did you say that they need to bake for?
30 to 35 minutes. So we'll go and put them in the oven. So we've got the cupcakes and we're going to ice them. We've got pre-bought icing.
And why is it pre-bought icing that you're using?
We've got pre-bought icing because it's easier than to make dairy-free icing. You can make dairy-free icing. You can get dairy-free margarine in a range of different brands, which you can use with icing sugar and some water or some of the dairy-free milk, but it can be quite lumpy. Whereas you can buy in most supermarkets icing that's really good. It's a frosting generally, and it's completely dairy-free. So it's simpler, and if you've got small children, they'll like it because it tastes really chocolatey.
It's quicker for you as well. And is it important to check on the labelling that it is dairy-free as well?
Absolutely, because not every supermarket and every brand will be dairy-free, so it's really important to check.
And is it important that the cakes are cooled as well before icing, or does it matter so much with the frosting?
It definitely matters, otherwise it will just all merge inside and it will be melty and glimpy and horrible. What you can do is make 6 up at a time and put them in the freezer and then pull them out when you want them. And as I said before, they're definitely better the day after you make them.
And the frosting and everything
All freezers
will freeze?
Yeah, the whole thing will
Fantastic.
freeze. There we go. So 6 child-friendly, dairy-free, egg-free, soya-free cupcakes. So we've made dairy-free, egg-free, soya-free chocolate cake. We started with dry ingredients, which were flour and sugar and cocoa. We mixed in the wet ingredients and mixed them together to make a batter. We used a mixer, but you can do them by hand. You then put the batter into either cupcakes or into a greased tin and you cook them for 30 to 35 minutes in the oven. The oven should be at 180 degrees, but if you find it starting to peak because of the different raising agents, then turn the oven down. And when it comes out and cools, you can frost it or you can freeze it. Dietitians are the only regulated professionals in the UK to advise on special diets. If you would like more information about a special diet, please ask for a referral from your GP or specialist nurse or go to our Trust website. Remember to trust a dietitian to know about nutrition.